Hello there, fellow Wallalo warriors, and welcome back to the semi-finals of the ZeroEmpires Invitational. As you can see at the top of your screen by the scoreboard, the current set is between Spring and LB10, and Spring is leading the series 1-0 at the moment. This is a best of 5, so it will be the first to 3 wins, and this is indeed game number 2. So up to the northwest of the map in the blue, we have got Spring playing as the Koreans. And down to the very southeast of the map, in the teal, we have got LB10 playing as the Indians. And you might be wondering, well, why have we got the Koreans? Why have we got the Indians? Why are they not the same civilization? It's because they've chosen each other's civilizations. And for game 2 and 3 of this best of 5, it's the case where one player will choose the other person's civilization, and then they will choose the civilization for that player, and then they'll switch it over in the next one to make it fair. So LB10 has chosen the Koreans for Spring, and Spring has chosen the Indians for LB10. Now the map is, of course, Arabia. As you can probably tell by the minimap, it's pretty obviously Arabia, and this is, well, likely to favour Spring, because Spring is known as the Arabia player. It's pretty well known that Spring plays a lot of Arabia, and he's going to feel very comfortable on this map, which makes me a little bit concerned for LB10 in this situation. But we've seen some great plays from LB10 so far this tournament. We've seen him put up a fantastic fight against Spring on the City of Lakes map in game 1, and I'm hopeful that he will also be able to put up a great performance here as well in this match. So, as I was saying before, map is Arabia. We'll take a look at exactly what that means for the players and exactly what they've got to play with here, and we'll take a look at Spring's map to begin with. Now, this main goal for Spring is actually in a pretty horrible position. It's half blocked by these trees on the front, and it's kind of really quite far out in the open over here. There's no tree cover on this right side to protect this gold at all, as well as this main stone being out here as well. And this could lead Spring to end up walling out here later on. That's really far from his TC, and that's definitely at risk. That is a really kind of bad gold for Spring, to be honest with you. And his second and third gold doesn't get much better either. His second gold way out on the front, his third gold even further away on the other side of this little forest. And that means that Spring may have a little bit of a tough time getting some gold in here. And not only that, but his wood is pretty dire as well. He has no backwood. There is no backwood on this map for Spring at all. His TC quite close to the edge of the map here. And there's nothing down to the south that he could take. This lumber camp is way too far away. And at the north, again, it's too far away for him to take that without putting his villagers at severe risk. So Spring is deciding to take the wood on the front, which is pretty much his only option. And you can see as well, he's had to put it on the corner here because these berries are blocking the nice bit of wood that's protected close to the TC, and he doesn't want to block the berries because, of course, they're going to be really vital to him a little bit later on. So Spring's map, let's be honest, is pretty horrible here. He's got no easy wall, and it's really quite open, as well as his wood being in a pretty nasty situation. So LB10, we'll take a look at what he's got to play with and have a quick look at his map as well. Spring's Scout getting a little bit close to LB10's TC there, and it does not look like he will move away in time. Of course, Spring being in the US and LB10 being in Austria, there's quite a little bit of a, well, I imagine there'll be a little bit of lag. I don't know for sure, but I can only assume Spring loses his Scout, and that is quite a big loss to take this early on. But yes, looking at LB10's map, his main goal is, it's not too bad. It's kind of, you know, these cliffs here are going to him protect if he walls that and this. It's not a short wall, but it will definitely keep his gold and the back of his eco safe. He's also got a nice backwood as well, which is really, really handy actually, because you can tell the difference immediately just looking at where Spring has his wood on the front compared to the backwood of LB10, which he can easily run back towards the TC if anything comes in from the front, which is of course the attacking direction of Spring here. His berries are out on the front though, and they are sort of at the bottom of a hill here, which is not ideal because, as we can see, Spring is going to be building a bit of a drush here with these militia coming out from the barracks on the front, and Spring looks like he wants to try and wall across the front slightly here to perhaps protect these villagers gathering the wood. So Spring's going to do a bit of a drush, and I think that does make sense based on his map. This map for Spring is kind of the case of, okay, be aggressive or end up getting sort of locked in your base, cornered into the this side of the map and lose all map control and struggle to take the important resources that you need. So LB10 here really should be playing aggressively, but he's not scouted Spring yet. He had a little bit of trouble finding his sheep over here, and he didn't want to send his scout out before finding those sheep. However, it does look like LB10 going to do a bit of a drush as well, and he has got a barracks up on the left side of the map, left side of his base, and starting to build a house way out front here. It looks like he wants to try and wall all the way out here, and that's really ambitious. It's very, very far from his town centre, and it's a long way out. Consider as well, Spring's militia are moving out across the map. Now for Spring, he has lost his scout, so it's not ideal, but he has obviously found LB10's TC. Moving in with his militia then, 3 of these guys, and he will find that house and find that villager. That's probably going to be 1 dead villager for LB10, as he is way out of position and way too far from his town centre to get back safely. LB10 seemingly trying to get that house built, but his villager's forced away. Gaia is coming in for a little bit of action as well, and that wolf will finish that villager off. So that's pretty bad. LB10 losing a villager already. He won't complete that house as well, and well, Spring's just going to be able to walk straight in here with the rest of his militia now, and end up meeting LB10's militia as well. Now the problem, as I said, for LB10, he's not found Spring yet. He doesn't know where he is, and he doesn't realise that actually Spring's got a terrible map, and LB10 will probably benefit from playing quite aggressively here, as a tower up in this location could do a lot of damage. However, Spring playing as the Koreans, towers are, you know, his strong point. He gets the free guard tower upgrade once he reaches the Castle Age. So for Spring, I think defending from a trush wouldn't be too difficult at all, and Spring's definitely got the right idea and definitely doing a good strategy by playing aggressive himself here and making these militia early on. He's also got some really good micro. He did manage to do a little bit of damage to LB10's militia there, even though he had the weaker militia to begin with. Might even pick off another one, or will he? Oh, LB10 just going to get out of the way in time. Spring will be forced back, and this militia may as well die, or may as well be dead as well, because 11 HP left. It's only a militia. It's not really going to do a whole lot of damage. So LB10 still got his scout in the north of the map, looking to find Spring. Still not found him. But LB10 is about to come across Spring any moment now. Spring, let's see, it looks like he is very close to the Feudal Age now. He's got a lot of villagers on berries, actually. He's gone for 8 villagers on the berries there, which is double what you would normally expect. But it seems to me like Spring hasn't taken any deer, which means that after doing a drush, it's going to be a little bit difficult to well, to get the food in that you need to go up to the Feudal Age in a good time. So Spring going up on 27 population, and that actually is 27 villagers, I believe. I don't think Spring has a militia anymore. His militia did get caught out. So Spring going up 27 villagers, and he's up to the Feudal Age already. LB10, on the other hand, is still in the Dark Age for now, and, well, after cleaning that drush up, he's probably fairly confident that Spring is going to be going up to the Feudal Age at this stage. Not only that, but the scores would indicate that that is the case as well. So LB10 going to send out his militia and his scout to Spring's side of the map, and obviously he's found that lumber camp already. Maybe he'll be able to harass this a little bit and disrupt Spring's economy slightly as these militia come in. However, they are really weak, in fact, and LB10 might find himself getting caught out. Spring turning around with those villagers very quickly, attacking and pushing LB10 away. But of course, LB10 wouldn't be able to do a whole lot with this militia and scout anyway, aside from disrupt perhaps a little bit of villager working time. So LB10 at the moment, I mean, as I said before, it looked like he was going for an ambitious war with these houses, but indeed, starting to put up palisades all the way around his base, and I think this is a bad bad decision for him to make, and in hindsight I think he would realize this as well. The problem is he doesn't have the scouting info about spring that he needs to see that this is a mistake. Now walling up like this is all well and good, you know, if he's gonna fast castle, which it certainly looks like now. He's on 31 population and he's let's see, he's got 3 villagers going to gold, he's got quite a few farms up. I think he's going to fast castle. He only has 2 villagers on the berries though, so he might be struggling for food actually a little bit here. But as I was saying, these walls, obviously, it might work out a little bit if he fast castles this, but at the same time, he really should be getting aggressive on spring here. You know, he won that drush, arguably. He lost a villager, but he did end up coming out on top in terms of militia. He still had his scout alive. You know, a fast feudal and archers here would be a lot more damaging to spring if LB got the upper hand and actually started to pressure this gold, for instance, and actually stop spring from making any archers at all, which is obviously the build that spring's going to go for. Spring putting up those 2 ranges now, and a blacksmith as well. A little bit of extra wood there to get a quick blacksmith up, and we'll see. It looks like he'll go for fletching straight away. He's definitely got the resources for it, and of course these 2 ranges will start pumping out archers pretty quickly as well, as spring does have a solid 6 villagers on gold for now. So LB10 still not really harassing spring's economy at all, not really doing anything with this militia and scout, apart from, well, scouting, which is, well, not that efficient at the moment. I mean, LB10's still not found this gold camp, and that's a bit of a problem for him. So meanwhile, LB10's pretty much walled himself all the way in now. This wall looks a little bit open to me, and he's open at the back as well, but he's got a pretty big wall across the front, and LB10 is now up to the feudal age as well, quite significantly. Well, quite a significant time difference between his upgrade time and spring's upgrade time. But like I said before, I think LB10 would be struggling for food a little bit here. Blacksmith and archery range going up for him, and no food, well, not enough food to go castle just yet. Might have enough if he garrisons the villagers inside the TC once this villager pops out. If he sends these villagers back towards the mill after taking some deer, he might just have enough. He only needs 200 more now. And once that archery range is up, we will see. But a little bit of a risky strategy perhaps, though he is walled up. You would think though that spring could just go around the side. That would certainly seem possible. So LB10's found that gold at last, and spring now, well, a little bit of disruption on there, but not too much of a problem for him. Starting to build out some houses on this right hand side to keep that one safe. And what on earth is going on here? Wow. Spring's made his way into LB10's base. LB10 losing a villager on the hill there as he runs back towards his TC with some food. Hopefully he doesn't lose that villager, because that's carrying 32 food, which he needs to go up to the castle age. LB10 now just clicking up, but surely he's got to be questioning how on earth did those archers get into his base. I don't actually know, but they just got in, and I'm unsure how. I mean, this wall to me, that looks pretty closed, unless this left side is open, but that looks pretty close to me as well. We will keep an eye on that, because I want to know how spring got into LB10's base there with those archers, because obviously that wall is looking pretty solid at the moment. LB10 still harassing this gold a little bit. I guess he's finally making some use of this scout and militia, but let's see. Archers here attacking the houses, and they are... Wow, okay. They're going to walk straight between the house and the tree? You're kidding me, right? I mean, that is not a gap, surely. How is that a gap? The outlines of the tree and the house are touching. I do not know how that is a gap. But LB10 obviously has a gap in his wall. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't blame him. I would have totally assumed that that was closed there. However, I can only assume that LB10 didn't test to see if his walls were closed. Pro tip for anyone actually who is walling up. If you're walling up in a game and you want to know if you are truly closed or not, simply select a villager or a military unit and task them outside the wall. If they can get out, they will take a route out. But if they can't get out, then they will just sort of go up to the wall or just flounder around. They won't actually escape. So LB10 seemingly not testing that his walls are closed, and somehow Spring is able to just walk between this gap here, and I don't know, maybe if you could see the grid outline or the actual hills, then maybe you'd be able to see it. It does look like there's a little bit of a hill there, but it is really difficult to see, and I do not blame LB10 for leaving that gap at all. So LB10's nearly up to the castle age now, 89-90%, and he is frantically scrambling some units to try and combat this pressure from Spring that's coming in. It looks like, yeah, LB10 has got fletching done. And Spring so far doing a little bit of damage, actually, taking down a couple of archers for free, killing off one villager at the very least for free, and LB10 now really defensive, but not in the way that he would have liked. I think LB10 wanted to fast castle in peace, leave Spring outside of his walls, and then break out once he's in the castle age with perhaps crossbows or something like that. But at the moment, it's Spring who is firmly in control of this game, continuing to send those archers forward and looking to find some more villager kills wherever he can. It looks like he will as well if LB10 does not react quickly enough, bringing those villagers into the TC just in time to save their asses. But it looks like LB10 is really starting to fall behind slightly here. I just wonder if the castle age upgrade will be a little bit of a saving grace for him. So Spring quite invested into this feudal rush at the moment, actually, and he has walled up this right hand side, nowhere near to the castle age yet. Well, he's getting there. He needs another 400 food, but that's not too much of a problem. I don't think he's too concerned about the castle age at the moment, because this feudal pressure seems to be doing well enough for now. However, crossbowman upgrade done for LB10, giving him a slight range advantage, and if LB10 does get bodkin arrow as well, which is not the case for now, then that does mean that he will get even more of an advantage against this army. However, nice play from Spring there, getting another villager, and this town centre will be delayed as well, which is quite a big deal for LB10 to have to cope with there. And Spring just going to get into this wood line, one villager going down, two villagers going down. He's just going to clean these guys up, absolutely. Taking so many villagers there for very little effort indeed. LB10 getting a little bit outmaneuvered, and these villagers running back to the TC. It's just a little bit messy in LB10's economy at the moment. And of course, Spring gonna do what he can with these archers, but he will get surrounded and will get chased down in the end. But I think they've been made worthwhile already, doing significant eco damage to LB10 and killing off a decent number of units as well. LB10 now though will take the score lead, as he does have a larger army than Spring at the moment, and he's also got much more map visibility. LB10 of course scouting a lot more after Spring did lose his scout in the Dark Age. We can see that LB10 should have better map visibility, and that's certainly contributing slightly to his score in this position. Spring, on the other hand, just clinging up to the castle age now. He's on 4%, so he's only just clicked up, but he is adding in another 2 archery ranges and starting to add in some watchtowers as well here. Now, obviously his stone's in a little bit of an awkward place. I don't know why he's not taking this stone though. That seems really strange to me. I mean, you would think the stone here, which is completely safe from any raiding at all, would be the most logical one to take. But instead, Spring taking the stone on the front for some strange reason and putting up a watchtower there to help defend. Of course, like I said earlier, these watchtowers will upgrade to guard towers once they once he reaches the castle age. And I think these towers are just a precautionary measure. Obviously, we know Spring's map is pretty bad, and he's gonna have to deal with archers from the other side of this wood line, because as these villagers chop down this wood, it's going to become more and more exposed, and Spring doesn't really have any other options apart from going up here now. And he's already built the lumber camp here, so, you know, he may as well put the towers up as a little bit of a defensive precaution. And I think it might be fairly effective, actually. Obviously, the range of a watchtower, 8+1, really outranges the crossbows, and it should help to protect these gold miners from any units that might try and get into this little corner here. So Spring as well, putting up another tower now in this wood line, and that's really good foresight from him, because LB10's on the way over, and this tower is in a perfect position to, well, not snare these guys, but certainly do a decent amount of damage if they get too close. So nice play by Spring there. Gonna put that tower up, and LB10's gonna be forced away. There's very little that LB10 can do in this position now to actually hit Spring's economy. He can't easily get into Spring's base from this position, and Spring does have a much larger army now inside of, well, after he garrisoned them inside of these archery ranges. So the only thing that LB10 has from at the moment is the much larger economy, and it's worth bringing up at this point in time that the Indians do have cheaper villagers by age. So once they get up to the Feudal age, villagers cost 5% less. Once they get up to the Castle age, villagers cost 10% less. So that is an ongoing upgrade that happens again in the Imperial age as well, making their boom really, really strong. So the Indians do benefit from having a good boom, obviously saving considerable amounts of food by getting these cheaper villagers. But I think LB10 might be a little bit comfortable behind his walls here, sitting on these 3 TCs, not seeing a huge amount of military production. Both of these ranges are idle, and Spring still has the larger army at the moment. So LB10 trying to put up a siege workshop. Will he get that up in time? Ooh, it doesn't... Oh, he might do, actually. He might just get it up in time. But Spring, hammering away on these palisade walls, going to take them down very, very quickly. And like I say, I think LB10 a little bit comfortable there behind his walls. So Spring going to make his way in. LB10 deleting that siege workshop and building it back here closer to his TC. Obviously looking to get a mangonel out to defend, but it is looking a little bit late to me. Obviously better late than never, but Spring's army walking into LB10's base. LB10 with 2 crossbowmen to defend. No mangonel out just yet, though it is being queued up. And Spring going to pick off maybe 1 or 2 villagers here as well. LB10's army, well, it's kind of outside of Spring's base at the moment, not doing a whole lot, to be honest with you. He's probably looking to try and, do some eco damage back to Spring. But as I said before, it's very difficult at this stage for LB10 to really pull this one off. Spring, though, walking right into this. 3 TCs here, taking arrow fire from all of them. Obviously, fletching has been done, but no bodkin arrow for LB10 yet. And Spring just going to walk straight through those TCs as that elite skirmisher upgrades gets finished up, and killing 3 villagers as well there. Losing a couple of units, losing considerable amounts of health on these units, but these TCs didn't do that much damage, and Spring certainly did much more eco damage than LB10 did to those units there. So LB10, oh man, going to get absolutely cleaned up by Spring here. He's not patrolling or anything, and that is really... oh, really painful to see. The rest of LB10's army getting absolutely cut to bits outside of Spring's ranges as well. And he has got so little now, so little to defend with. It's looking very, very dicey for LB10. And I just want to put a disclaimer on this game. The game does not finish with a resignation from LB10. The game ends when it crashes as LB10 resigns. So the game will crash when LB10 resigns, rather than saying LB10 has resigned. So when the game crashes, that's when we know LB10 resigns. I just thought I'd give you a heads up, because obviously that will be coming up, well, I think fairly imminently, judging by this army of Spring at the moment. As I say, it's so much larger than LB10's. Spring at the moment, just putting up his 2nd TC, and you can tell the difference there. 4 ranges, complete all-out pressure compared to the 3 TC boom that LB10's trying to pull off here. It's just not working out for him at the moment. And as more of these units start to come in, it's going to be more and more difficult for LB10 to defend as well. He's on 61 population, Spring on 76. He's got a really nice advantage there, and he doesn't even have the 2nd or 3rd TC up yet. Alright, 2nd TC just completing. So LB10 really needs to make these mangonels work for him, and he has to do a lot of damage with them. However, getting a little bit caught out there. He's got to be very careful not to kill his own mangonels. It looked like that one may have just started to hit his own dudes there. But repairing that up really nicely. Obviously going to try and repair quickly here to protect this mangonel from any further damage, whilst the other one can fire from the outside. Oh man. He has got to be so careful. This mangonel getting taken down, and the rest of this army from Spring still alive for now, and probably, probably about to die. There's very little health left on these guys, and they are running away to the corner of the map. But meanwhile, Spring getting into the back of this wood line from LB10. LB10 forced back to his town center, and this is just not good. I mean, seeing all these villagers inside of this TC again and again and again, obviously causing LB10 to lose a lot of gathering time, causing him to really just lose out every time that these villagers have to go back to the TC, and that's happening more and more often as Spring gets further ahead. Score looking like almost 1,000 ahead for Spring, and there's the game crash I was talking about. That's LB10 residing right there, and that will make it 2-0 to Spring. Obviously, Spring in a much better position that game, taking a pretty good win, I've got to say. I mean, he really was in control of that game, and as I said at the start, LB10 should have played that more aggressively than he did, as Spring's map was pretty terrible, let's be honest. But because LB10 didn't manage to scout it, he didn't really plan ahead that far, and ended up, after that hole in the wall, getting absolutely screwed over. If that hole hadn't been there, maybe LB10 would have put up a little bit more resistance, but we saw how quickly Spring could get through those walls anyway. It makes me think that even if that wall had been complete, it wouldn't have been long before Spring would have broken through. Obviously, LB10 may have had more time to prepare, but we will never know. So anyway, that's that one. 2-0 for Spring now, and if he wins the next game, he will go through to the Grand Finals to fight against Hallis on Sunday, and I can confirm that Resonance22 will be casting that with me, and that's at Sunday 18 GMT on twitch.tv/ZeroEmpires, so don't forget to tune into that. I'll put the link to the stream in the description to this video. But as usual guys, I've been Zach, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.